My name is Michele LeVoy. I'm the director of PICUM, which is the Platform for International Cooperation on Undocumented Migrants. PICUM has existed itself for about almost 25 years. And when we started, when I first started, so I actually started myself probably about a year or two after the organization started. And literally, one of the first things that I did in my first days was to look at the printed copies of Migration News Sheet. I just remember probably sitting down with that news sheet, probably the first or second day that I started. So this was probably around 2002 or so, and just reading it from cover to cover and thinking, what on earth is this continent doing on migration? Because there was so much information in there. It was so carefully researched. And it was actually quite sad, to be honest, to see a whole section, I think, at the time, I think it was on anti-racism, a lot on borders, on EU policy. But so I just always remember how that news sheet made me feel as I first started our work. And and it was always a huge source of inspiration for PICUM as well because of the methodological way it was done. It was so thoroughly researched. And we had the printed copies in our office for a number of years and binders and things like that. So I just really want to commend MPG on doing that because it really was a resource. And it probably kind of also subconsciously helped us in developing our own newsletter, which was much less in depth. It wasn't 30 pages or so, but I just think it was an excellent reference and a very good tool for many in the migration community. PICUM was a partner in the Rhizoma Research Consortium that involved MPG, was coordinated by ISMU in Milan. It also involved other partners, other EU civil society networks, and Center for European Policy Studies. And one of the projects or one of the focus areas that we looked on within this research consortium, because it was looking at migration, asylum, and integration. So one of the areas was on criminalization of solidarity to migrants. We looked very much in depth at what was the impact of the EU Facilitation Directive from 2002 and how the lack of precise wording at the EU level that would not allow member states to criminalize people who were providing humanitarian assistance was proving problematic for people on the ground. So what we did together as partners was try to monitor if there were cases of people who were being criminalized, so with court proceedings, because they were providing water, food, housing, rescuing people at sea, for people who were trying to enter into the EU without having the proper authorization to do so, or for people who were undocumented who were already within the EU, so kind of away from the external borders, but already in the EU, but still being criminalized because they were helping them. So we did this media monitoring, and I think we looked over maybe 5 or 6 years as a period of media monitoring of cases. And so it was really this project that we did together that also helped PICUM to then kind of build on that methodology. And now we as PICUM have done that in recent years as our own media monitoring of criminalization of solidarity cases. So I would say that it was this excellent collaboration with MPG and other partners on the Rhizoma project that has also helped elevate this issue. And it's also feeding into the discussions now at the EU level on the new proposed revision of the Facilitation Directive. I think what we valued in working together with MPG on different occasions over the course of MPG's and PICUM's existence has been the openness and the willingness to work together and to be open to receiving comments, questions, to have this type of partnership on projects especially We are actually currently together in another research consortium on return and readmission. And so I think what I do value is that the MPG team, the ones that we've also worked with closely over the years, have been very open to this collaboration. And I do think that the times are much more difficult now in general concerning migration. I think we have to look at multi-stakeholder partnerships and how we in this particular space on migration can be working together. We each have our own things that we bring from our own work, our own networks, etc. So I would encourage MPG to continue to look in this way because I think that the solutions will be coming from this type of a wide type of stakeholder engagement. Because the solutions need to be very creative in difficult times when we see a polarization as well of how migration policy is being carried out. And so we need even more collaboration and progressive policies to come out. So I think MPG has a lot of experience in research, but it's especially in this talking together with research partners and other stakeholders that I think it can also be strengthened. So I would encourage that.